Alrighty guys, Coaster here, just talking State of the Oakland Raiders, my annual address when the season is over. Yeah, a lot of things went up and down. I just want to make this a heads up. For those of you who like to troll my videos, this is not the time to do that. So if you're a non-Raiders fan, it's okay if you comment, but please keep it respectful. This is a address video, which I do every year, so no troll posts, no crazy silliness on the comments, so be careful, that's all I ask. Anyways, so the Raiders, another season's in the books. This was an ugly 3-13 year, and I know it's another bad season, but it really doesn't hurt as bad as it could have. I think, yeah, sure, it's kind of a lost cause because Dennis Allen was fired in week 4. The team was on pace to go 0-16 if they didn't fire him, and thankfully Tony Sparano in his lame duck state actually got this team to fight, to be competitive. Once Sparano took over, this team was competitive, minus the Rams game, and then there were those games where they looked close against Denver, and then they pulled away in the second half. But I was okay with that. The only unacceptable game was that Rams one where they just got manhandled all over. So we look in perspective. Yeah, there was a lost cause. The offense looked terrible. They looked dysfunctional. I know Derek Carr's a rookie, and he was going to go through his rookie growing pains. I mean, was it worth doing it? I guess it was. He didn't get hurt, at least. That was the most important part. He got the experience. He stays humble, and I'm thankful he's a guy who will be working hard as the offseason moves on. I think this team, it's still going to take a lot of progress working. We have Jack Del Rio now, and I think this head coach finally has a little more power than the previous head coaches. He's not the true yes man, per se. I know Reggie has been kind of that, just kind of a GM doing other stuff, maybe contracts, but they're going to give Del Rio a little bit more control, I think, with how this is working out, the way that this was done, the way his press conference was. He said all the right things the way he did this Friday, so I give him credit where credit's due. Of course, you don't win the press conference, you're not going to necessarily win on the field. There's a lot of holes on this team. We look at the draft. I think we're 4th overall. Correct me if I'm wrong. There's going to be a lot of players that come and go. It is what it is. Reggie was not able to handle free agency as well. That whole Roger Saffold thing happened, and then players were walking like Houston and Valdir, which they didn't try to keep them, which kind of sucks. But Raiders were able to get some short-term guys, some veterans, and people might laugh at the contracts, getting some guys past their prime like Antonio Smith, maybe a washed-up Carlos Rogers, what some would say. But right now it's all about veterans just teaching the young guys. Some of those veterans like Justin Tuck, who had a pretty good year. Justin Tuck I thought was good. You teach the young guys like Stacy McGee and Justin Ellis, those guys. You got to teach the young guys from the veteran experience. Now, James Jones is now a veteran, teaching guys like Andre Holmes. That's all you can hope for. And so a bunch of stopgap players. There was a lot of short-term fixes, and they had to just kind of spend cautiously just to get to the cap floor. We're in very good cap shape because there's nobody we're committed to long-term or that has a nasty contract. Most of them, with the exception of Austin Howard, are signed pretty short-term. We look at the draft. Our draft picks did pretty well this year. Khalil Mack, Derek Carr, Gabe Jackson, and Justin Ellis all contributed, and even T.J. Carey got some valuable experience on defense. I thought there was a little bit of better play. Thought I was a little more impressed with what I saw there. Of course, the coaching staff is going to be gone, and Del Rio's going to bring in guys, and hopefully he brings in the right guys to run on offense and develop Carr. Hopefully Carr's play should attract some coach who just wants to work with a young quarterback that's talented, because I've seen enough from Carr that showed he got better. I wasn't into the pick at the time. I thought he was just, okay, he's got an arm and that's it. But now I'm seeing he made progress. The line was protecting him. He was making plays down the stretch, and stay humble. He's not one of those guys that'll get into trouble. I'm very confident in that, the way he's operated off the field. Yeah, free agency is going to be weird. I think they're going to have to splurge, and they're going to have to overspend on people, and that's the only way they're going to get people to come here. I know people can blame Reggie for this and that, but we know the Raiders have not been the most attractive job for a lot of players, and it kind of showed. It's just They got to overpay. If they overpay and they get some guys, good. They just need 2 or 3 guys impact if they can make the team better for next year. I know it will be a work in progress. I'm not expecting anything like crazy to happen next year, but if I just see the team get better week by week, and I did see that, even though it didn't reflect in their wins. They were competitive. They were fighting. If you saw the games against the Chargers and even the Chiefs, you saw them fighting and staying competitive. And eventually, they're going to pull out a win, which they did. I think there's obviously a lot of needs in the drafts. It's wide receiver. You could argue defensive line, secondary. You could take almost any position except quarterback, running back, and I guess offensive line we're pretty good there, but it wouldn't hurt to take another good offensive lineman. That's just me. I'm a line guy, so. But as long as it's not quarterback or running back, we can be flexible and take any position we want with that 4th overall pick, or we can trade down. There's a bunch of stopgaps, a bunch of short-term guys, and there's optimism at least for building blocks. There are some pieces here on this team where the cupboard is not completely bare. It took 2 years to blow up the team. They had to just get through that nasty cap hell. They're out of it. This year they weren't able to spend a whole lot, but at least they're out of cap hell. That whole saga's over with. This next year for Reggie, I consider a year 3. Year 0 was 2012. Year 1, year 2 was 2013 and 2014 respectively. So this is the year 3. I mean, this was kind of a no excuse year for Dennis Allen because he finally had some defensive players. Didn't work out. They looked like they wanted to lie down. But they didn't lie down. They stayed firm to being competitive and wanting to play to win the game because you don't play for the number 1 overall pick. You just don't. I don't care. There's no can't-miss player this draft to me where you tank for the 1st overall pick. It has to be an Andrew Luck or something like that, which there isn't. So the good news, once again, the quarterback position is a position in need for both Tampa Bay and Tennessee, so they could take 2 quarterbacks. And if they do, the Raiders could take a top 2 player on their board. Assuming Jacksonville goes 3rd and they draft, the Raiders can draft somebody that is tops on their board. You can only trust and hope, because I didn't like what I saw from DJ Hayden as a whole. He got better down the stretch. I'm still skeptical of that pick, but it is what it is. At least he looked a little bit better down the stretch. Latavius Murray's a guy to build around. The offensive line, like Donald Penn, had a good year, I thought, but there's going to be guys walking, like Stefan Wisniewski. I don't think we're going to keep him. That's just realistically here. There's a few guys they'll keep, but I think they're just going to splurge and go in the free agency pool, try to get competitive there. Let me know what you guys want to draft. I mean, right now, Amari Cooper is the guy on my board right now who I would want if I could just take anybody. I think Jacksonville doesn't necessarily need a receiver. They might, but I know they have Justin Blackmon as well, but that Amari Cooper would be my first choice. Possibly an edge rusher. We still need a pass rusher for the long term. I know Khalil Mack did his job from the linebacker position, but we could use a defensive end or defensive tackle. One of those big guys. I'm always into big defensive ends, and to me that's one of the most important positions on defense. I know every position's important, but I like the line. You got to find an edge rusher. I'll look into scouting guys down the line, and I'll look at players, but yeah, I thought this was a season, at least they made all 3 of their wins count, because all 3 teams came short of the playoffs. They were 500 or better. The Chiefs, I think they went 9-7, the Bills went 9-7, the 49ers went 8-8, but they made all 3 wins count, especially that one against the 49ers where it at least was a kick in the groin to the locals around here. They would have gloated like crazy that they still beat the Raiders, but knowing that a bad Raiders team played their best game possible that week, they actually had some integrity to play the game. And, both teams get a new head coach. I'm not going to comment about the others, but the whole situation, it was nice that they made all 3 wins count. And especially the Chiefs came short of the playoffs by a game. The Bills came short by a game. There's going to be a work in progress for Del Rio, but he's a guy that knows the situation. He's committed, and he knows that whole local thing is cool and all, but he's an experienced head coach, too, on the field. Some didn't want the hot coordinator name and unproven head coach. I get that. There were some guys I thought about that were hot coordinators, but Del Rio I can accept because I know what he did in Jacksonville. He still got them to the playoffs twice. And people might say that's nothing, but considering what Jacksonville had and what he's worked with, I have faith Del Rio will have a lot more power than what previous coaches have done. He may not take this team to the promised land, but I think they're gonna get better. I actually like what I'm gonna see. With just hope that free agency goes right. So yeah, that is my thoughts on the Raiders this year. There were games where it sucked and a lot more downs than ups, but in perspective, those 3 wins counted. So once again, the Super Bowl, I will talk about the 2 Super Bowl teams in it by the time you see this video. The 2 Super Bowl teams might already be decided, so your team will get a shout out if your team's in the Super Bowl. I will talk about both teams. I will preview the game, and I talk about the Super Bowl like I usually do. This is it for me with the Raiders until the draft. So until April, I'm not talking about free agency and all that. I mean, I can't just knee-jerk reaction to every signing and every dismissal and guy that walks. I just can't do that. I will talk when the draft comes, and we'll go from there. So I have a Twitter, and you can see in the description, Coaster Freak, and I just go in the doobly-doo, whatever you want to call it. You'll see my Twitter. If you want to bug me in the off-season, you can. But yeah, this is it. This is it until April that my Raiders talk goes. I mean, life hasn't been easy off the field. I've gone through a lot more things. Some of you might have known I've lost my mother, actually, through Twitter. Those of you on Twitter already know, but mother passed away of cancer right at the end of December. Actually, it was 2 days after that Bills game, believe it or not. But I made that Bills game, even the 49ers game, 2 last ones she saw. She'll smile and just kind of remember that. So, yeah, life isn't easy. Life is short. I've always said that in my videos, and I still stand by what I said. So, really make the most of what you have, and hope y'all have a very good off season. And good luck to the 2 teams in the Super Bowl. I will talk about you guys when the Super Bowl week approaches. So, we'll see you guys later. Just bug me on Twitter, which is on the link if you still want to talk to me or not. But yeah, this is it until April before I talk about the Raiders. I'm going to put the season in the books. I might talk about hockey here and there, a little bit of baseball here and there. But the football season's done for the Raiders, and this chapter's done. So, see you guys later. Go Raiders, and let me know what do you think. Give me your insights on this team. What you think, without trolling or getting nasty. Just talk about the team and real perspectives. What you need, what you want. I want to hear all of that right in the comments. So, I read them all. I don't always respond to them all, but I like to hear from you. So, see you guys later. Go Raiders.